All right, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. How many of you are entrepreneurs here today? I would expect much higher number of hands actually. Let me share in the next 15 minutes a bit about government's effort. And it's always very strange why government will have to speak first. Maybe in the new government will change that landscape later on. All right. My name is Norhizam Kadir. I run a division called Growth Ecosystems Development. Part of the role is to look into the startup ecosystem, but most importantly, realizing and identifying opportunities around tech ecosystems that we can tap onto in helping to further enrich the digital economy in Malaysia. I'm going to start by giving an introduction about MDEC. I'm sure that the local ones will probably have heard and be familiar or to a certain extent involved in initiatives as well as incentives that MDEC provides. But for the benefits to those who are first-timers in Malaysia or probably not familiar with the ecosystems in Malaysia, let me give you a bit of an overview of what MDEC is. We've actually been around for the last 22 years. And started off to catalyze the growth of digital economy. But then 22 years ago, I think the word digital wasn't even in existence as yet. Back then it was called knowledge economy, and I wouldn't be able to attest to that because I was still in school when MDEC started. And it was even known as MDEC, it was known as MDC. But the pillars and the core, the focus of the organization still remains the same actually. What took place 22 years ago was the realization of the government in looking at economy that's beyond, back then it was manufacturing and agriculture and oil and gas focus. There was a pivot, a focus that needed to be done in looking at digital economy to help to grow Malaysia's economy. Hence, the 4 pillars that we have from how we are driving and attracting investment. So foreign entrepreneurs who are interested in setting up presence in Malaysia, we're more than happy to speak to you. And at the same time as well, providing assistance for local companies and how does government help in terms of building local tech champions. What's more relevant to today's discussions is catalyzing digital innovation ecosystem. And we look at it from technology standpoint. Of course, we look at various technologies such as data analytics, artificial intelligence, IoT, cybersecurity, and definitely it's going to be blockchain soon. We also look at industry focus on how are we increasing adoption in manufacturing, in agriculture, in oil and gas, in ensuring that digitalization continues to happen in these industries, as well as looking at talent development. And last but not least is how do we ensure that the digital divide continues to narrow in Malaysia and digital inclusivity is also embraced among people, not just in urban areas, but in rural areas as well. All right, I'm going to talk really quick actually because I know the time's ticking. I'm going to focus, there's a lot of things that we do actually, but I'm going to focus on 3 things actually, on government's intervention in helping to drive Malaysia's digital economy. First one is data economy. I'll speak about talent, and I'll talk about something that's more relevant to you on startups. All right? Puppy of muffin. All right? So, the work that we're doing around big data is crucial because we believe that it's the foundations of artificial intelligence. I'm sure that all of us would have experienced simple, basic artificial intelligence. You go to Skyscanner wanting to buy tickets to Langkawi, and the next thing you know, it appears on your Facebook of hotels in Langkawi, right? But this is all new technologies and evolutions of technologies that we need to get ourselves in touch with and continuously engaging with the industry to ensure that what we are doing are relevant to what is being offered to the industry back. Hence, one policy that we have come up, and this had been around for the last 2.5 years, on the focus of big data strategy. We believe that big data would then lead to the foundations of artificial intelligence as well. And what's really crucial is to ensure that we're tuning out the right talents. We have a commitment made to the government to to generate more than 20,000 data professionals by year 2020. And to do that, we cannot do this alone. We have to work with the industry. We have to work with the startups. We have to ensure that there's potential data sandboxings happening as well. And there is locations actually right across this building in Vertical Tower A called ADEX, where there are opportunities for you to be mixing and using that as a sandboxing ground to help opportunities for you to be looking into big data and the artificial intelligence. All right, let's look at talent. You probably would have seen this actually. 65% of children in schools today will end up working completely in new job type that doesn't exist. In fact, 5 years ago, I wouldn't even able to articulate what would be a blockchain expert means. Or, even the simplest things like UX designer or even crowdsourcing specialist. Those jobs may not be in existence 5 years ago, but it is right now. It's one of the highest sought after jobs. Moving forward, there will be new jobs like robot counselor and drone traffic optimizer, cryptocurrency bankers that will be in existence. But how are we as government need to prepare ourselves? And then there's this saying as well, as this rhetoric talking about 1.54 billion human workforce will be replaced by 2030. Right? We've been hearing a lot of cries, especially from the academic world, wanting to know how this can be addressed. To put it in, to cut long story short, we're calling this as trends of ABCs, of digital talents. Challenge right now is demand for ABC talent is growing fast, but it's still low in supply. And we'll share with you some of the initiatives that we're doing in terms of ensuring that the supply continues to grow. I believe that it's not just about ABC, it's also about ABCD, because the future of blockchain, distributed ledger, is really crucial in ensuring that the supply of technology, supply of talents to be able to meet the demands of the future will continue to be addressed. Some initiatives that we're doing, we're looking at it from K-12 all the way up to universities level. These are the future of Malaysia, right? These guys are part of an initiative called My Digital Maker. We've reached out to about 200,000 students right now, where we encourage them and we introduce them to technologies such as embedded technologies, robotics. We've even, coding seems to be, the common, most technical knowledge that we download to the students right now, but we also introduce them to other things as well. And maybe we need to start looking into introducing them to blockchain. And these are some of the results of how the future generation leaders are coming up with great solutions and technologies to be able to turn them into these aspiring digital entrepreneurs one day. We also work with universities very closely. There are 8 universities that we have termed as premier digital tech universities. We also work with TVET, with vocational schools. And it's not just about those typical having industry to come to universities and getting the industry to help to shape curriculum, but it's also about ensuring that the university's faculty members are immersing themselves into the industry. We've sent several lecturers right now and getting them to be on a sabbatical and having them to be in the industry, because we realize that professors and lecturers have not spent enough time in the industry. So why would they know about, what would they know about the industry? And these guys are being tasked to go and create future digital workforce if they themselves do not understand what industry means, right? So these win-win situations between industry and academic are extremely crucial, and we're doing it via premier digital tech universities. Okay, third one, startups. All right. Don't cry if your startups are not here. This is just a sample representations of the startups ecosystems in Malaysia. The strategy that we have at MDEC is to look into 2 parts. First is to look into how are we growing and building local tech champions, right? We rank them up based on their valuation, as well as opportunities for them to scale. But it's also crucial as well to look into how are we re-domiciling and attracting startups from any parts of the world to have them based in Malaysia. And we'll talk about why Malaysia later on. But I think it would be appropriate to be talking about blockchain, right? I'm no blockchain expert. I can't give you a lecture half an hour on blockchain. But what I want to emphasize on, and I think that's very much stressed by Dr. Rayson earlier, that blockchain is not just about cryptocurrency, right? And it cuts across various key sectors. And the one that I am very, very touched with is how blockchain can then help to improve the livelihood of people. You know, how blockchain serves its purpose in providing technology for identity among Syrian refugees. So a lot of opportunities that we can do around blockchain. And as government, we also need to walk the talk and ensure that adoptions among blockchains can happen in Malaysia. All right, so hence, how we are looking and approaching it from a strategic level. First is to capture the potentials of blockchain based on Malaysia's strength. We need to know and understand which industry should we go and have blockchain to be implemented. Second is positioning Malaysia as a conducive testbed for blockchain solution. And I know that this has not happened as yet, but I'm hearing a lot of great excitement of partnerships that's going to happen in Malaysia with the effort of Malaysia Blockchain Association. And I think that could help them being a catapult, being a catalyst to help to grow the opportunities for Malaysia to be the test bedding ground. And last but not least, in optimizing Malaysia's positions, as an example, Malaysia has always been a global Islamic finance center, right? How can we enhance that leadership of global Islamic fintech or global Islamic finance by the usage of technology, right? We look at it from talent development, we look at it on how are we working with the communities, as well as industry development and ensuring that adoptions of blockchain continues in Malaysia, right? A bit on policies, actually, and this is something that we have put together to help to enhance and drive the growth of startups ecosystem. This is an initiative that was introduced about a year and a half ago, where we certify co-working spaces. We knew that in order for us to get closer to the entrepreneurs, we have to be where they are. And we certify co-working spaces and call them digital hubs, but it's not just about certification. It's also about the ecosystem support that we are engaging with and bringing to these digital hubs for the benefits of the startups. From tech companies to talent development work to ASEAN linkages, because it's important as well for startups to know that when they are in Malaysia, they wouldn't be able to tap onto the vast opportunities across Southeast Asia. Corporate innovations, where we work with the likes of Maybank and Axiata and several others, actually, there's several other corporations that we've been working with to ensure that adoptions can happen here in Malaysia as well. Funding, and last but not least, from government fiscal support, Malaysia is one of very few countries in Southeast Asia that are allowing foreign entrepreneurs to set up base in Malaysia with 100% foreign ownerships. We also have MSc, right, where if it's applicable within the qualifications, you would then be able to get support from the government, which includes tech exemption. And last but not least, of an initiative called Malaysia Tech Entrepreneurs Program. How many of you guys are foreigners, not Malaysians? Quite a number of hands, all right? So if you're already based in Malaysia and you've gotten visa, that's right, that's great, right? I always ask, and I don't want to put anyone in trouble right now, I always ask the foreigners, the non-Malaysians, how many of you are in Malaysia with a legal visa? Right? I can hear some murmuring here and there. Thank you. Right? But we can make you legal, actually. We can make you legal. There's an initiative called Malaysia Tech Entrepreneurs Program. We've introduced this last year. We've gotten more than 300 plus applications within 1 year. Right? And we are processing them right now. We've gotten more than 100 processed and approved. And this is meant for entrepreneurs, anyone with any idea but have no track record of established businesses. I remember 2 years ago when I presented to the immigration to get them approving this. And I told them, and I said, is there anyone from immigration here? I don't want to get myself into trouble as well. Right? I told them, and I said, that, do you want Mark Zuckerberg to be in Malaysia? He said, yes. But I said, Mark Zuckerberg does not want to be in Malaysia, but he probably wants to be in Malaysia 20 years ago when he was broke, he didn't have any money, he was still a student. Well, yeah, and all he had was this. And we wanted to have those type of people as well to be in Malaysia, and we provide them with a new entrepreneur's visa up to 1 year, ensuring with the conditions that they set up a presence here in Malaysia. But for for all of you, and I know that all of you are established entrepreneurs, you are entitled to have a visa up to 5 years actually for those with track record of established businesses, okay? All right, and this is coming soon actually, and I think this is very aligned to today's topic, all right? I know I mentioned earlier that blockchain is not just about cryptocurrency, all right? One of the things that I regret about my life is not investing in Bitcoin early enough, or else I wouldn't have been standing here. I probably in Gibraltar or somewhere, all right? And, okay, Malaysia fintech space. So we realize that there's a need for us to put a lot of focus around fintech. This is one of the most important industry focus that any country should be looking at. But we know that we cannot do this on our own. We have been working with industry very closely, and Dato' Rayson is one of our strong supporter. But it's also important for us to get the regulatory bodies to be involved, especially in a highly regulated industry such as fintech. Right? So it's in collaborations with Bank Negara Malaysia, which is our central bank, securities commissions, several financial institutions. We've come up with a space. It's all ready. It's just a matter of getting certain approval here, there. And it's going to be up and running anytime soon, where we will focus on opportunities for the startups and the entrepreneurs to be playing in one ground. We are also currently working, in fact, we have already been working with Supercharger, Hong Kong-based accelerator. They're running their second cohort right now, and it's going to be based there as well. There will be a focus on talent. There's a need for us to ensure that these startups would have the right mixture between technology and finance, right? And last but not least is to ensure that financial inclusion continues to happen in Malaysia. And to do that, definitely we need to work with Bank Negara and Securities Commission to ensure that regulatories are condoning and are supporting the initiatives that technology players like all of you are doing. All right, with that, and I know that time's running up, I'm getting excited sharing more of what MDEC does. I wish all of you the best, right? I want to part with one message actually. We're not going to be able, MDEC will not be able to drive the digital economy unless if the industry drives it together with us. So I want to, who are people from MDEC here? Okay, I see Tang over there. Oh, Ziming's over there as well. All right, can I get MDEC people to stand up? Because I need to leave after this so that you can then ask questions to them instead of me. This is all their effort, it's not mine actually, right? I'm just here speaking on behalf of them. And talk to them about how you can play a role in terms of supporting the directions and how we would then be able to support you accordingly as well in reverse. With that, thank you.